of their passports stranded as immigration officials lament inability to process passports with introduction of new conditions. An accountability expert and e-government lecturer, Malcolm Osahon, will join us for the discussion. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adiwali Aduyi. If you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. I want to welcome you back, BQ.
Thank you.
Our fans, JH fans all over the world, they've been asking after BKO, and I hope you'll be able to give them value for their time.
BKO
refreshed.
BKO had to go take some rest.
Yeah.
And the world we live in now, the rat race life that we live in Lagos, you need to rest.
So you don't drop.
Yes, you need to rest. And when you rest, you come back with greater intensity. You know, I went to Akwa Ibom, I went to the beach, Ibeno beach in near Ekiti. A very white, clean beach that needs to be developed. I used the opportunity to also know my country a lot more. So the urge to do a little work was there. I did a little work, but in a long time, I've not really rested the way I rested this time, and I'm really happy about that. I know that the fans missed me, but I didn't miss issues with Jide throughout. Okay. So some of them were able to...
We're still online?
Yes. So we all need to rest. We all need to rest.
All right. Welcome back, BQ.
Thank you.
Now, let's begin with an issue regarding the triumph of justice. Anikeja's Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Court has sentenced the founder of Irene Christian Ministry, Bishop Feyi Daniels, to life imprisonment for raping a church member in his Lekki home, Lagos. The trial judge, Rahman Oshudi, found the Lagos-based cleric guilty of rape and sexual assault of a female worshipper and held that he should spend the rest of his life at the Kirikiri custodian facility in Lagos. Let's share the story by TVC News, Kemi Folademo, with you.
In count one, Justice Ramon Oshodi said he believed the testimony of the first complainant, as well as other witnesses who gave direct evidence, which weren't contradicted at any point, despite the defendant's denials. But the judge acquitted the defendant of the second count of raping another church member at his home in 2020. The court said the prosecution failed to prove the elements of the use of force, fear of harm by the complainant, and misrepresentation by the defendants to establish guilt beyond all reasonable doubt.
The court cannot, for that Christmas, it cannot dash out judgments. It cannot dash out sentencing. If the court, looking at the value of the evidence before it, has said that the first complainant was a victim, was actually raped by the convict, yes, then the court is right in its wisdom.
This is to send a stern warning to every one of you who think that you can manipulate vulnerable women and girls in the name of the Lord. Survivors will get justice. You will find yourself in a place where you will not be able to escape one day. You can continue to fool everybody, but you will not be able to fool all the people all the time.
A lot of men do these crimes. A lot of pastors, big men, they do this. But it is about the survivors speaking up. So this has emboldened everybody who is a survivor of sexual assault.
Defense counsel Adebayo Adigbite had urged the court to use his discretion in sentencing, but lead prosecutor Babajide Boyi asked that he be sentenced as charged. The court said the 43-year-old cleric, who didn't have regard for truth, was a risk to the society and should spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Justice Oshodi said that the cleric Feyi Daniels abused his dominant position to sexually violate two members of his church The court also held that even though it imposed the maximum sentencing on the convict as directed under the Lagos criminal laws of 2015, it will still not erase the harm that the convict has already wreaked on his victims. Kemi Foladeyemo, TVC News, Lagos.
Jide, our God is indeed a very patient God. Okay. Minutes. Meanwhile, in days leading to the 2023 presidential election, the same pastor predicted that the eventual winner of the election, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will be arrested by soldiers on Inauguration Day.
Hear me? Peter Obi will go to court. He'll go to court. And the day for swearing him, Tinubu, will come. I saw white, I saw green. About to be sworn in that day. And everybody that I said is the next president will be rejoicing. Will say, yes, I told you. Prophet that don't see far, was I telling you, didn't I tell you Tinubu is the next president? And while at that event, it looks like a very open ground, like a stadium-like center. No, I'm telling you what will happen. So, while at that event, military men will come in and they will arrest Tinubu. I'm playing the movie before you, Abi. So that you will know that prophecy is not just calling people's name. Mark my words. I'm speaking from my office. I'm not speaking by a gift. He'll be arrested. And at that point, an interim government will rule Nigeria.
Sorry for that, hiccups. Jide, indeed, religion is the opium of the masses. Because when you see, our correspondent still visited this man's church today.
Yes.
Today. The church was filled to capacity. And when you ask an average church member now, they will tell you that they are persecuting this man. That because of his prediction, that is their own connection.
Well, it's their own church member that the case had been there before the
yes.
Before the fake prophecy. The case had been on.
Yes.
So were they expecting that because he's a pastor, he should not face justice? We will never encourage that because somebody is a pastor, he's carrying a giant Bible in his armpit.
Like a Mayfili.
Like a Mayfili.
Immediately after.
You know, after they've done evil, they suddenly transmogrify into pastors, into Bible reading.
Immediately, the Lord became a shepherd.
Those Bibles that they are clutching in their armpit, if you ask them some questions about the Bible, they don't know. They are just doing it so that
did you see that Bible?
No, but we never even behave like a Christian, you know. So this is the way they are. But the clear message from this is that, look, nobody is too big for our laws. If you rape a woman, if you've been doing it in other places, don't come to Lagos.
Lagos says yes.
The law is clear. Whoever you are. The other day, a pastor, a physician, a doctor, was sentenced.
Yes.
So they will keep catching them, and when they catch you,
sending signals,
and there is cast iron evidence against you, if you like, speak in tongues, you are going to jail. Your speaking in tongues will not rescue you from jail. That's what we have seen. And no man is big enough to rape a woman. You know what I mean? You cannot, because you are a pastor. Look at what the judge, let me read what the judge said. Your offenses are grievous. You sexually assaulted 2 women who are members of your church. You raped her ferociously. You committed you committed these crimes using your dominant character as a pastor.
Yes.
You know,
told her not to tell
a lot of our women tend to even respect their pastors more than they respect their husbands.
My daddy says.
If the pastor says don't travel, they won't travel.
Yes.
Meanwhile, no one knows whether the crystal ball of the pastor is upside down. He has said something, you believe that it has to come to pass. They are like your earthly gods.
God of men.
God of men. You know, so God with the small letter G. This is justice served. And it really pleases me. There are women all over the place, runs girls. You go to some of these big-time department stores and plazas.
They relocated to that place.
You see them.
Those areas now.
You see, you can disguise, remove your collar as a pastor, put on dark goggles. If you don't want to be identified, pick any of them.
You offer them.
Instead of going to rape a woman.
Honestly.
Because you rape a woman and you get caught, you are going to jail.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. So it's justice served, and it's such a good thing.
Wale?
Well, I think there are many good pastors and many good imams. There's no doubt. We have said it here several times. But there are people who are inherently evil, and they want to commit their crime, by getting religious licenses, so that to give the impression that they are men of God. If you look at this church, you know, he said it started in 2011. I even started in Ghana. And according to him, he said he had a physical encounter with God. And God told him that, follow me, and I will make you. That was on June 2008 in a community in Ekiti State, Idoile. But you could say that all the actions from that 2011 and from what you have seen now, God himself has exposed him to show that this is not my true son. You cannot be the son of God. You're a married man with children, and then you invite young women to your house to rape them. And I'm almost convinced that we are talking about 3 girls now. They are probably intense.
Yeah.
But some people are too shy because they are married people. They don't want to come out.
Yes.
So you see, the human mind is the most fertile thing that God has created. You can plant fruits. You can also plant thorns. The human mind is one that generates the best things in the world. It's also the source of the greatest evil, you know, that we have seen all over the world. So I think we are seeing a case of a blatant liar who just exploited people's ignorance, who exploited people's poverty, because he paid school fees of some of those guys to manipulate them, to hypnotize them, you know, and to turn them to personal objects that he was exploiting for his own layer. So, you know, in some other countries, they will close down that church because there are still so many millions of godly people there who will never believe. They have been bought over, they have been hypnotized, they cannot think out of the box. So it's very unfortunate, and I hope that even if he appeals this case, I don't think he will get out of it, because he has exposed himself as a very, you know, fraudulent. Look at what he said during the election. Blatant lies that God told him that, you know, a very logical thing. When you look at it, you believe it. But it turned out to be lie, has been exposed. So the lesson is that no matter how cunning you are, at the fullness of time, God himself will expose and disgrace you.
Yes.
So the number that was given when he was predicting about 2023 election, nothing came to pass.
He said that there will be interim government. Are we under interim government now?
He said Tinubu will be arrested at Bigu Square.
Yes. Who has been arrested now? Maybe it was himself being arrested. And in his dream, he looked like Tinubu. I guess it's himself that he saw. You know,
God was showing him
what was showing him. You know, he misinterpreted that encounter with God. Maybe God was showing him.
You are the one that will go to jail.
You, this boy, you will go to jail, because you refuse to leave those girls alone. You refuse to leave them alone. You know, look at the judge saying that he raped someone ferociously because the girl was injured and
bleeding,
infected. Yeah. I mean, there are so many perverts roaming around our streets, you know, and you wear a suit. You wear a suit, a trendy suit.
Mount the pulpit.
And then begin to...
Our Father in the Lord.
God told me this.
Our Daddy in the Lord.
We were not there. But the same Bible says, by their seeds we shall know them. By their seeds. The great preachers of old in this country, the Babalolas, the Shadelas, the man, the blind man.
Yeah, Obadiah.
Yes,
Obadiah.
Yes, the Dahosas. We never identify them with all these kind of things. Lollipop Christianity is destroying the religion. People just waiting to hear what will please them, rather than follow the dictate of the Holy Book. You are just waiting. Somebody stands before you. You are listening to him. You want to hear, because at that time, it was the wish of some people. Didn't some deluded people go to defense headquarters asking the military to step in? People did not know what it means for military to be in power. Some of us who lost friends, some of us who fought for this democracy and lost our friends in the process. We can tell the story. Not people who were in their diapers during military reign. You know? We lost our friends. People put in jail for no offense. What did Christiania would do, for example, that they jailed her? Christiania, one of the best journalists to come out of NTA. What did she do? No offense. You just put her in jail.
We couldn't trace the dead body of
Bagadaka to today. They just wasted him.
Chinedu Ofaro of the Guardian. You can't trace his body.
And some people will now be saying that they want military rule. You know what you are. Yes, you didn't want somebody who won the election to get there. Perhaps this was what was afflicted that pastor. He now wanted to say things that generation of deluded people wanted to hear. He now said that he saw somebody being handcuffed. It is your country that will go to...
It was one.
That will face...
Military will come during...
not during my time. Maybe another country. Migrate to another country and experience military rule. We will not experience military rule again. We saw it.
Never again.
Nobody can tell us the story.
Never again. Never again. All right. Moving on now. It is new dawn in Kogi State, north central Nigeria, as Yahaya Bello handed over the baton to his successor, Governor Usman Ododo. After making history on the 27th of January 2015 to become the first person from a minority ethnic group in the states to occupy the Lugard House, Lokoja, Bello believes that he has laid the foundation on which his successors will build to make the states to greater heights. Jide, the White Lion.
White Lion.
After 8 years.
He's done his bit and he has stepped aside for someone else to take over. I think that history will be kind to Yahaya Bello in many ways. I have nothing to say to people who believe that he didn't achieve anything. I've been here in Lagos, hearing that some governors, they didn't do anything, Babindeyi, he will say it in house, Babindeyi, it's not, he didn't perform. When I go there by myself,
honestly,
I will now see.
I've experienced it too. I experienced it in Taraba State.
They'll just say somebody didn't do any work until you go there.
It was 2 kilometers, dry lives.
Yes, and they never had it. That's the road coming from Yola straight into the heart of the town. Federal government. Neglected by government, he did it by himself and put flyover on top. They will say he didn't do anything. Yahaya Bello, there is no governor, first and foremost, no governor can solve all the problems.
No, you can't.
As good as Tinubu was as governor here, he didn't solve all the problem. He left some of them for Fashola to do. As good as Fashola was, one of the best governors of his generation, he didn't do all the work in Lagos. When Ambode came, some of what Fashola should have done.
He abandoned it.
No, what I mean was that some of what Fashola could have done, he did. Like the Oshodi interchange, for example. No one will say that was not a good project. Like even the
world class,
like even the Pennsylvania.
Yes,
we used to experience serious gridlock,
Brother,
and then they came and Baja.
You cannot recognize that.
Yes, that was what Ambode did.
You get missing if you will not be in Lagos.
So the point that I'm making is governors will come and governors will go. In the area of education and education infrastructure, Bello impressed me. I always say to him that, in my view, Kustek was his best achievement. But there are people who point at Ganaja overhead junction, overhead bridge, because it had been there. Successive administrations planned to do it, but they never did it. Look at the hospital in Okene. Look at the GYB, the model school in Adankolo. I saw that model school. I went inside. I've not seen any school like that, a public school, with the kind of facilities at GYB model school. Even the laboratories, what they had in those laboratories, some universities don't have. Well, you know, all we can wish for is that Kogi will continue to make progress. The new governor
this person will surpass.
Yes, our wish is for him to even surpass his boss. And I'm sure that Bello will see nothing wrong in that. Every father wants to see his son or even daughter greater than him. So, Ododo, a level-headed person, is taking power. We just hope that he will do a lot better. As an accountant, he's trained in handling resources. So hopefully, we'll be able to use the resources of Kogi State, you know, to take the state to greater heights. So congratulations to Bello for his time in office, and hopefully his successor will build on what he has done.
Like the Kogi State is a very peculiar state when you look at the way, you know, the state is, the composition of the states, and that he was able to reach out to all the interest groups along the line, and he was able to produce a successor, and he was able to, you know, replicate the landmark projects in all the 3 senatorial districts. It's something that people will talk about for a long time.
There was nobody that could have picked. That person would not have generated controversy. You know, even if you had picked somebody from just any of the senatorial district, you know. But I think the impressive thing about him, I mean, this somebody who was born in 1875, he's a young man. I think he should be the youngest that had ever ruled Kogi State. So I think in many areas, he did not disappoint, given the resources available. You know, the only area I think the successor needs to focus on is on tourism, because Lokoja is one of the most historical cities in Nigeria.
Confluent city.
It was the first headquarter of northern Nigeria, and then became the first headquarter of Nigeria. In fact, Lord Lugard settled there, you know, where they call Mount Patti, you know, where the indigenous people first settled in Lokoja. Then you have the safe of the first bank in Nigeria is located in Lokoja. Then you have the first primary school in northern Nigeria, also in Lokoja. You have the UAC warehouse built in those days. Then centenary of Nigerian soldiers and British soldiers that fought in the First and Second World War. So I hope he can tap on the resources. I mean, on the tourist resources in that. Don't forget that Lokoja is a place that over 1 million people pass through that place to Abuja every year. Yes. And there is compulsory, most of the time you have a stopover. You know, you want to relax. Sometimes you even sleep over in Lokoja, but it's the gateway between the south and the north. So I hope you can concentrate on the tourist potentials, you know, in Lokoja, and then turn that place around. The Staff of Liberty, when the slaves were freed, you know, in Nigeria, it's in that Lokoja. So it's a very historical town, and I hope you can invest in that area, you know, and ensure that that city regains, I mean, is brought back to the global map of tourism. I can only wish him the best of luck, and hope that we'll bring all dissenting voices, especially our brothers in Okun, who have been sidelined, since Kogi State was created. So we should unite all the people there and then ensure that he performs better than his
with their votes.
predecessor.
Yes, the second time.
Yes,
because he was able to reach out to them and was able to.
He won. He even defeated his opponents in their local governments. Defeated Dino in his local government. Defeated Abejide in his local government. So they did very well. They did very well in this election. I want to see the new governor focus on agriculture. Nigeria is the biggest producer of cassava in the world. And Kogi is the biggest producer of cassava in Nigeria. Kogi is the biggest producer of cashew nuts in Nigeria. So there are areas where you can focus on to develop agriculture, and not just develop agriculture, encourage foreign investment in agriculture, in agricultural value chain, because that's where the money is. That's where the money is. A lot of these countries of the West, they don't have cocoa, for example, but they do excellent chocolates. Denmark.
Yes, because the
Danes will do excellent chocolate for you.
The import.
They don't grow cocoa. Some of those crops can't even grow in their area. So we need to encourage the value. Investment in agricultural value chain, because that's where the money is. It's just like if we were to focus on just exporting crude oil, we won't make enough money until we focus on refining and coming up with all the derivatives.
All the byproducts.
Yeah, the byproducts, AGO, kerosene, petrol. That's a global market for them. Nigeria will make money when our refineries are working and we are now refining those products and sending them abroad, instead of when the situation that we were before, that only crude oil.
Just crude oil and bring PMS back.
I believe that agriculture, Kogi will make more money from agriculture if they focus on it and then bring in investors who will now focus on the value chain. How can a state like Bello, for example, producing so much orange, not even have companies producing fruit juices and all that? It's something that I keep asking myself, what is going on?
And part of that legacy is to sustain the projects, to be able to maintain.
Yes.
Like that reference
hospital
should not be abandoned. Because this is what happened. We see in the situation in Edo States, Adams Oshomole built a world-class hospital in Benin City, but his successor did not attend to it. Today, that hospital, I can't say the states. So if they're able to sustain that development, that kind of world-class hospital, they're able to make sure that they put it
of sustaining it is high, because it's the same. There's a smooth transition.
Very smooth.
Yeah, and I also believe he realizes they need to work on security.
Yes.
I hope you can just be as good as Bello has been in the area of security. Bello tackled insecurity head-on. It's not easy to be like in the center. Different states.
Everything we don't.
There is Kogi shares boundary with more states than any other state in Nigeria. So all those criminal activities also,
Okay. All right. Now to those states. It seems the 2024 Edo governorship race will not be short of old war horses. Former governor of the state, Professor Osayeme Osumbo, turned up at the All Progressive Congress APC Secretariat in Abuja to procure the 50 million naira expression of interest and nomination form to officially join the race. The 72-year-old former governor said he's not too old to clinch the APC tickets, stressing that age won't be a stumbling block to his ambition to return to the State House 16 years after his exit. The two-time governor, the two-time senator, stressed that good governance should not be sacrificed for age. Not too old to rule.
not too old to go back to the House.
16 years after.
Yes. He is the first governor to be sacked by the courts.
Remember that time?
Akintola's son is the first lawyer to achieve that feat.
Me Akintola.
So he wants to go back, and of course, the battle will be tough because APC has so many people interested in the governorship, and I don't know how the leader of the party, Oshomole, wants to handle it. Professor Osumbo is confident and he wants the direct primary route. I don't know, maybe he believes that with the direct primary will be able to win.
Majority of people will...
So he said they've been promised the direct primary. That is if the national leadership of the party does not change its mind, because they can change and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So it promises to be an interesting battle for the APC ticket, first and foremost. And Oshomole has a big role to play in that. It's like he's the party leader, and it appears they've given him some level of latitude to not to prune down the number and to help them find the right person. So
because everybody cannot go into that primary the way
at the rate they are going.
Collected this
at the rate they are going, you know.
Not just having 40.
But what they are saying is that look, Oshomole has no right to handpick people to contest that. It is the NWC of the party that can take that decision. And I agree that the NWC of the party has to lay down the parameters that will be used. Because there is no way that if you allow somebody, an interested party within the state, to take that decision, is most likely to favor maybe a candidate of his choice. But the national leadership has to come in and make it more even-handed. So I think that at this stage it's even difficult to say this is honestly the person that will emerge. But because APC could also benefit from defection even from PDP. Because the PDP, the primaries will also be rancorous. It's either some of them defect to the APC or defect to the SDP or some of those special purpose vehicles that are always available during the election. So, good luck to Professor Osumbo, but I'm sure he knows that it's not going to be easy.
The All Progressive Congress must be careful, because so that if they intend to clinch that seat, don't forget that the incumbent administration there is from the People's Democratic Party. When you have the likes of Pastor Ezeyamo that still want to contest, and the Professor Osumbo, they should be careful, because in the People's Democratic Party, there's a kind of head start for the likes of Asri Igodalo. The man has been the chairman of Sterling Bank, chairman of Nigerian Jewelry, chairman of this. I saw the CV; it was quite intimidating. So they have if they have a candidate in PDP, the APC must also get a formidable candidate to face anybody that emerges.
I think on both sides, the parties are star-studded. You see all the people coming out in the APC; they are very strong people, very strong background, highly educated. The same thing also with PDP. The advantage on the side of, Professor Osumbo was senator for two terms, since 1999. Then he was governor, and then probably we'll be looking at instances where governors have gone and then returned, like we had in Ekiti State twice, But I think there is something interesting about Edo State. It's like those that were big wigs in PDP, are more or less coming to APC. even those that are in PDP now who are controlling the party, they were either formerly in APC. So I think if we are looking at what is important now is for the APC to pick someone that is popular, not somebody that's been imposed because the leader of the party thinks this is the person that will serve my own interest. They need to do like what happened in Ekiti State, before the election. They hired consultants who did opinion poll, spoke to people, went on three three different occasions. And all of them came up with the idea that, look, it seems the party members actually want the current governor who is there.
Bow.
Yeah, Bow. And on that basis, the party made its decision. So I think there are so many ways you can verify to know which candidate is actually very popular, within the APC. Because if they are not careful, if people begin to feel so shamed, they might leave the party. But I think the APC has a kind of advantage. For controlling the center, people always, there's always people, manage to concede defeat without necessarily causing, because they know there will be other roles for them to play at the national level. So I think the APC at this time has a good chance if he decides to pick the right candidate, to win against the PDP that is having a lot of internal contradictions. And then, let's hope and see how it goes. Osumbo has said that age is not a disadvantage, that he wants to challenge any one of them to a race. That at 72, what is important is his health, how, responsive he is and all that. So, but I think what is important is that
people want him back.
Yeah. The party should ensure that the people have a say. I think it's better for them to have direct primaries so that people can make a choice of which candidate is best for them.
Jude, that election is going to be very interesting. Not forgetting the likes of Philip Shaibu, the deputy governor.
Yes,
he's still in the race.
He was just saying the other day that he's sure that his governor will back him. I don't know why Shaibu keeps saying this. He knows that.
And the next day he was saying that, he was quoted as saying that he didn't believe what the governor was doing to him, that the governor could be so callous and cruel.
That's why, and unfortunately, he has offended Oshomole. And that's why Oshomole made that point that APC is not for internally displaced politicians. Because he thinks that he could be thinking of coming back to APC. I don't see Shaibu remaining in APC and PDP if he doesn't get the tickets, because they've shown to him so much that they don't want him. And the governor has done everything to frustrate him. He's treated him so inhumanely. And when you push someone to the wall up to this point, even disgracing him at public events, including a Christian gathering, allowing him to stop him from greeting you, there's no way you both can remain in the party. I think that the primaries of the party would be the time when Shaibu will leave the party. I can say that unless miracle happens, Shaibu will leave that party, because the governor will do whatever it takes.
I think he's also determined to be on the ballot. So we'll look for your so-called special purpose vehicle.
Yes, we'll get a special purpose vehicle, maybe the SDP, to run on his ticket. But let's keep our fingers crossed. Prof said that his performance in 17 months will make the people pick him this time. Again, as I always say, time is the gentleman. Time will tell.
I think Prof was displaced by Adams Oshomole.
Yes.
When he was governor.
2009.
They proved that he didn't win the election. They used all...
He falls into the category of governors that weren't too lucky to spend time. Like the people like Chris, what's the name? Celestine Omeya. People like this Anambra man. Uba. Chris Uba. Well,
chase them away, including even the immediate past Labour Minister.
Yeah, Chris Ngige. Sorry, Chris Ngige.
Also sent packing.
All right. The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is eager to deliver, as Nigerians are anxious to see a change in their socio-economic fortune. As such, all political office holders and public servants must shape up or ship out. Special advisor to the president on policy and coordination, Adiza Bala Usman, held a technical retreat for delivery desk officers of federal ministries towards delivering on the renewed hope agenda of the administration. Babajide Kolade Otitojun caught up with her in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, for an exclusive interview. Let's share part of it with you.
The question is, what should civil servants bring to the table?
I want you to tell us what indeed this is all about.
The Central Delivery and Coordination Unit of the Presidency is holding a retreat, a 3-day retreat with the delivery managers across all the ministries of the federal government. We're here to discuss the modality of the process with which we're going to institute delivery of the presidential priorities.
The criticism that many Nigerians have made about previous administration is that there seems to be nothing like key performance index and means of ascertaining whether ministers and other key functionaries in government have the capacity to continue to keep their jobs. What you've been given is something really new. How challenging have you found the job?
It has been quite challenging, more so in recognizing that the engine room for these activities of these deliverables sit with the civil service. So we need to ensure that the capacity of the civil service is strengthened. We recognize the minister as the political head and the lead, so we're working with the ministers and the civil servants to ensure that there's an understanding of the urgency to deliver on Mr. President's priorities. We have here with us today the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission. He's providing a presentation which details the need for us to align the skill set within the civil service with also the Renew Hope agenda, because in order for us to deliver, we have to ensure that we have the manpower, the skills that are required. An integral part of our result delivery is consequence management, which I think all citizens and Nigerians are anxious to see, meaning that for a sector, for a ministry and a minister not to have met their target, what would happen to that minister? And as I recall, referencing the time frames, we're going to do our first assessment in the end of first quarter 2024. We recognize that the budgetary provision for this round of activities commenced in January. So that is why our first assessment would be in the first Q of 2024. But as I mentioned, we need to build and strengthen the capacity of the ministry for them to recognize what is expected of them and the process with which we're going to monitor them, the process with which we're going to have independent assessors coming from the outside to also determine, yes, have they met their target. So we have 3 layers of assessment. The first layer is the internal delivery process that we have instituted. The second layer is the independent assessment consultants that we're going to engage to determine that. And the third layer are citizens, Nigerian citizens, who form the third layer of assessment that we're going to have, meaning that a minister will be assessed internally by us, by 2 an external consulting assessment, and then 3 by the Nigerian citizens using our citizen platform.
The Nigerian citizen will be able to speak their minds on how their ministers are performing. Is this going to be electronically verifiable?
Yes, we're going to, there is a citizens platform that exists. We're going to relaunch it in line with the President's directive, which would allow for citizens to track and monitor the presidential deliverables. We're going to upload these deliverables so that you can see. And one of the things we're doing today during this 3-day retreat is also to break down our deliverables to very granular aspects where how has this deliverable impacted on you as an outcome. So for example, some of the details where you you're going to the airport, what is your experience, the delay by the airlines, the functionality of escalators, functionality of conveyor belts, security clearance for vehicles coming to the airport, security clearance for persons in the airport. So these are the granular details we're going to ensure that performance is measured and tracked by citizens, measured and tracked by the delivery unit to ensure that there are clear outcomes that are expected.
Professor Lawmakers spoke about money gets allocated to some ministries departments that they do not receive any final analysis. How do we guarantee optimum results when money meant for projects are not
that is recognized. We actually deliberated upon that at the last week's Federal Executive Council, when Mr. President charged the Ministry of Finance to ensure timely deployment of resources, because as you mentioned, you can't function if the full resources have not been deployed. The Federal Ministry of Finance and the Office of the Accountant General have the cash plan which they deploy, which details their cash management processes to ensure that the resources available are distributed. And indeed, we've also looked at that cash plan, implementation of the cash plan and cash disbursement as a deliverable of Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance themselves will be held responsible for resource allocation and resource distribution, recognizing what is available in the pot, in the envelope or the pot for distribution to critical and priority projects and initiatives.
You have civil servants here, some of them educator officers. How confident are you that they will be able to help you achieve your goal?
Without a doubt, as I mentioned, the civil service is the engine room of delivering on the presidential mandates. We also note that they would need intellectual and technical support, which would come from external consultancy that the respective ministries are deploying where there is a needs gap. But we feel that our civil service needs to be strengthened to provide that, because institutionalizing a reform, institutionalizing an initiative is how you get it sustained and how you get it accepted across the board. So that is why we're prioritizing working with, we have here our delivery desk officers, we have 4 of them from each ministry led by a director, and they're here for this retreat so that we can work with them on the respective frameworks with which we're going to track. So we know that there may be some skill gaps, but we encourage to see how we can improve on that capacity.
Yeah, Adiza Bala Usman. Julie, you attended that seminar, and what were they trying to achieve?
No, the president has given her a tough job to look at all the ministries, assess the ministers. I think there is a determination on the part of President Tinubu to not be like the man that is succeeded. Ministers during the last dispensation were really not challenged. You found ministers who were not doing well, extremely laid back, yet they were kept on their jobs to the anger of Nigerians. Service chiefs too, even when they were clearly failing, the former president was reluctant to show them the door. But President Tinubu has made it clear from the beginning that ministers will be assessed periodically. And during this, the first assessment will come before the end of the first quarter of this year. So you can imagine we have far more ministries now, but all those ministers manning the ministries will be assessed. And each ministry has delivery desk officers made up of senior officers in the civil service and the federal civil service. They will be given parameters that will be used to assess these ministers. Professor Olaokpa, the chairman of Federal Civil Service Commission, is someone very knowledgeable on the civil service in Nigeria. He's an expert in that area. He was telling them about the problems. And I heard him say clearly that, look, in some cases, even the people working in these ministries do not know what the renewed hope agenda is. They've not really caught up to the renewed hope agenda. And in some ministries, like 500 billion could be appropriated to a ministry, and they won't get the money. Even if they will get it, they will get maybe 200 or 300, or the money will be released very late. How do you assess people?
Optimally.
Yes. Already that person is, that
minister is not funded.
Yes, that minister is already at a disadvantage when he doesn't get the money to function. So Adisa was saying, look, this matter came up during the last ESCO, and that the president has told the finance minister that, look, things have to improve in that area. Budget performance, you cannot achieve optimum performance if they don't release money on time, as we always have in our country. So there are many obstacles that even Adisa will face in trying to achieve our aim of assessing these people clearly. But I can see the determination is there. She said that, look, when she was talking about FAN the other day, she said, okay, FAN, what have we achieved in terms of services delivered by airlines and all that? Are Nigerians happy? When Nigerians land at an airport, are the conveyor belts working? How much time do they spend waiting for their luggages? You know, so these are things that, okay, a minister manning that ministry knows that he has to address, you know, because it's part of what they will judge you with. So I can't wait for the first assessment that will come up at the end of the first quarter of this year. Let these ministers sit up. We can't have a situation in which a minister thinks that, okay, they've given me this job, nobody can take it. Of course, it will be taken off you if you don't perform.
You don't perform. There are some ministers that I barely hear about them, and their ministry is hardly in the news.
I think what this government has done is quite commendable. And you see, it's not just enough for you to pick your aides, ministers, special advisors. They must understand your dream. They must share your dream. They must understand what your economic policies are all about. And I am just reading from the screen now that these are delivery officers. So it means that these are the people that will relate with the common man of the street. These are the people that will deliver the project. It's not the minister that will go from one place to the other to carry out his policies. He has to rely on the linesmen and women. So these are the people that are supposed, they are the gatekeepers, they are supposed to be the ones that give feedback to the government. So it's important to realize that whether a project succeeds or not depends on these delivery officers, who are the end users of government policies. So I think it's a very, very good thing. I'm not sure it happened in the past 8 years. And I hope other states can also learn from what the federal government is doing. Because by training them, you are impacting on them what you expect, what the president expects them to do. And I think it's going to put them on their toes. It will force them to sit down very well that there are people watching them. And whether the president succeeds or not, it's also partly dependent on how they carry out their activities. So I hope other states will also do the same thing. You need to train. And it's not just even once. It should be periodic. Maybe after 1 year, there should be a review to see how far, they have gone in terms of implementing government policies. So I think it's quite commendable. It never happened in the past 8 years. And that, ensured, that gave a kind of a blank check to the minister. They just felt nobody was watching them. Nobody was writing the post on them. Except maybe media occasionally just writes on their activities. So I think it's a very good initiative. And I hope other states, even local governments, should do the same thing so that they can give capacity building to those that are supposed to implement the policies and dreams to actualize the dream of the president of the country.
So then finally, ultimately, we think after some time now, we'll be able to verify the performances of these ministers and their ministries, what they've been able to achieve.
Yes. I think even at our level, as journalists here at TVC, we can ask the viewers to even tell us what they feel about these ministers. I don't think If you ask Nigerians, they will tell you that probably 4 ministers are active. The rest are following the president, traveling up and down. It's not, what is your business traveling with the president all the time? They are going to Dubai, you also want to go. They are going to Germany, you also want to go. To do what? You need to sit down here and work. This is the time for everybody to jump in and save the sinking ship of our country. But if people's preoccupation is simply to travel with the president, see what testacle they can make, then we are not going to get there. But the good thing is, the idea is good. We can't have ministers who will be behaving like they are not accountable to Nigerians. We can't have the sort of ministers that we had during the last dispensation. Many of them were inactive. There was one, who despite suffering serious infrastructure gaps in his state, in his own, this thing that they've given him, the portfolio that they've given him, he still returned money. How can you return money when there are no street lights are not working? I'm talking about the former FCT minister. He returned money to the National Assembly. Yet when you go to Abuja, you see where he could have spent money on. Some streets in Abuja till today, they don't have street lights. Some of them very close to the seat of power. The street light, either the bulbs have expired or something. So there's an urgent need for this minister to sit down and work. They can't continue like, they've give me this ministry, nobody can take it. Of course, someone can take it. And the president should take someone's portfolio if that person will not work for our people.
All right. We'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We'll be right back for the second half of the program.
Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, time doesn't just tick away. It counts down to political decisions that shape our world.
This country must move.
Imagine the impact these decisions have on our lives. Some are consequential, others may leave us intrigued or baffled.
You will have no better friend and partner than Nigeria.
Step in and feel the frenzy like never before. Join me every weekday for an hour of fact-finding interviews where questions cut to the core.
What does Tinubu has that other 17 candidates do not have?
I will dig in to get to the heart of issues, from local politics to global insight. Join me as I unearth the power plays, jaw-dropping revelations and the unfiltered truth. This isn't just politics, it's unraveling the stories that matter. Brace yourself for Politics Tonight every weekday at 8 p.m., where every decision echoes along the corridors of our lives. Politics Tonight, only on TVC News.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and we have Babajide Kolade Otitoju coming back and Wale Adeoye in the studio. Our passion for politicization of issues is legendary, and the plan to relocate some departments in the Central Bank of Nigeria is attracting criticism and generating controversies. But a former Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi, has urged the CBN to go ahead with the move to relocate selected departments from Abuja to Lagos. In a statement, the former CBN governor described the move as sensible, citing the larger infrastructure capacity in the Lagos office. Sanusi advised the CBN governor, Oluyemi Kadoso, not to yield to political pressure surrounding the move. Why do we keep politicizing things today? CBN to move to Lagos, some departments.
Just some department. They didn't say everything.
Some departments.
They didn't say everything. They just said some departments.
Just because of the capacity of the number of people that Abuja office can contain, you know, Abuja office is filled to capacity.
Yes, they said even lifts are overcrowded, sewage issues, you know. But even Sanusi admitted in his reaction to this needless controversy that the Lagos office is far bigger than the Abuja headquarters.
One of our guests said it on Thursday or so, that look, we immediately, like from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that we use the Lagos office. It's Monday to Wednesday that he uses the Abuja office, because the Lagos office is far more convenient for him, for his operations.
Yes. And
bank headquarters, they are all in Lagos.
Yes. You see, that's why, for me, you are talking about banking supervision. That's one of the most critical departments in the CBN. If the CBN is to get it right, get our banks to sit up and meet their core mandate, the Department of Banking Supervision has to be on its toes. These banks are doing all kinds of illegal things. Round tripping, forex,
aiding and abetting money laundering.
Seriously. All kinds of criminal things that banks are doing. And it is that department that should be able to whip them into line. Now, more than 99% of banks in Nigeria have their headquarters in Lagos. The people who are to oversight them, they will sit in Abuja. Does it make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. If we want efficiency, if we are not just stuck with the past, that we just want to continue to do things,
like the airport authority, the headquarters is in Abuja, doing what?
No, it's here.
So
it makes sense.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. Buhari, as a northerner from Katsina, when they set up this, what was it called, MDC VMB or so, it was in Bayelsa that they put the headquarters. Inland Waterways, the headquarters is in Lokoja.
Yeah.
You cannot have a situation in which those banks, the people who oversight them, they will be here, they will be in Abuja.
No.
Which work are they doing? And you know, Sanusi said something that I held on to. He said, look, the children of politically exposed persons, there are so many of them in CBN. What we've had over the years is CBN, there is vacancy, they will not make it public. Politicians, senators, and the rest of them, it's only their children who are getting into CBN.
That's the point.
Yes.
They don't want to leave their comfort zone.
Apart from that, they sell jobs. A lot of the federal government
job bracketing
establishments, they sell jobs, 5 million, you know, to people. They even dictate. Those politicians will dictate where they should put their children. Now, with this decision, they know that those children will have to move, and they don't want to leave Abuja. As Sanusi said, their Abuja lifestyle and their businesses that they've incorporated in Abuja are their major concerns, not the CBN work. So this is what is going on, and I don't think that it makes any sense for us to even be talking about Abuja, our federal capital, for some people to make it look like it's a northern affair.
I'm telling you.
Why are some people always thinking that they love the North more than the rest of us? I am a Northerner. I was born there, raised there, spent my education there, my youth service there, the greater part of my life in the North. You want to tell me that you are more Northerner than me? How? By the circumstances of my birth, I'm a Northerner. I was born in Zaria. in Wusasa, in Zaria. So no one can sit in a studio and be telling me that he's more northern than me, that he loves the north more than I do.
Some are even threatening the president that this will cost him a re-election.
I saw, I think it was Senator Lindume who even said so that we have, what kind of rubbish is that now? So an ordinary a CBN governor cannot post his staff. He cannot take measures to streamline operations in his office. We must blackmail people with election that is still more than 3 years away. When will that end? Sanusi said something that when politicians begin to dictate to the CBN governor, if they succeed the first time, they will not stop. They will keep. Abuja belongs to all of us. And that's why it's ridiculous when that cleric was saying that, we did Muslim ticket, but it is wicked that they gave FCT to. What is wrong in giving wicked FCT? Is he not in Nigeria? Is he not a federal capital for all of us? That's why they need to talk to some of the so-called people who deceive themselves that they are speaking for the North. Because they are going to even further isolate the North and make some Nigerians feel that they do not belong here. And that's not what we want to see. We want unity. We don't want people to think that, this is not our country. Some people feel that they are more Nigerian than the rest of us. We have to banish that. We have to stop that. And no one should blackmail the president with an election that is still several years away. Let the people focus on their work. I'm happy that despite the lies, because in some circumstances they even claim that he wanted to move the whole CBN, that he wanted to create a Western Nigerian, Western Nigerian CBN. It is when people who are educated, who know, they go abroad though. Many of them, they go abroad from medical checkup and other things. The people, those people, they know that elsewhere, they don't do things like this. You have financial capital. The financial capital of Germany is Frankfurt. It's in fact the financial capital of the whole of the EU. You know? So they can't take, you mean the German government cannot take a decision now about Frankfurt? It has to be the federal capital. No. This thing has to stop.
Now, like the FAA now, we were told that they pay for accommodation in Abuja, that they don't have the headquarters. But many offices are lying, following Lagos. Yeah. Which is logical. Out of every 4 international flights that will leave the shore of this country, I'm sure 3 will come from Lagos.
Of course.
You see, a lot of things that people have forgotten, that these decisions that we are battling with were taken by military fiat. Nigerians were not given the opportunity to even debate. Some of these offices were moved during the era of military rule.
Yes,
so we are not given the opportunity of it, but we just took it in good faith that, where is one Nigeria and all that. You know, I'm happy that the former CBN said something, that it was part of his plan as CBN governor.
Yes.
To move some of these departments. That means it's not a new thing. It has been, the file has been on the table, but some people probably are, are sitting on it. So, and I'm also...
He said if he had lasted longer.
Yeah, he would have done it. You know, and these are people that are talking. Some of them are highly respected political leaders who could actually lead Nigeria as president tomorrow. So if they are now talking like this, what will such people do if they become the president of Nigeria? Or they are occupying positions that are more strategic, that has to do with, the interest of all Nigerians. And then you are talking, people are talking, some of them are in the same political party.
Yeah.
I was feeling that, party discipline, if a decision is taken like this, the first thing is that you meet your party leaders, you discuss with them so that you are better educated.
Yes.
Because it has shown clearly that they were not informed. They just acted on impulse, because if you have been informed about the reason behind the movement, there was no need for this outburst.
Some respected
people that
educated and
contest to be the president of Nigeria tomorrow. So I'm so shocked about this 18th century mentality. A lot of Nigerians never had the idea that Abuja belongs to a particular person.
No. Until they started
people are now saying, so you too think this is your property. and not the property of all.
And you know, that's what I remember growing up, reading Awo's opposition to Abuja.
Yes.
So when the Undumes of this world, the Bashir, the Hatus of this world, start talking the way they are talking, or the Arewa Consultative Forum, some of them professors, when they start talking, this
former ministers,
you now see that, oh, so this was the fear that I
had, you know,
that the North was going to appropriate. This was the fear that I had. There are things, and that's why I'm happy that even some Northerners who have spoken, the Shehu Sanis of this world, are saying that, look, the North has to be careful about the way these Northern leaders, or the people call themselves Northern leaders, because for me, they are not Northern leaders. We didn't appoint them. We Northerners didn't appoint them. So those self-appointed leaders, they should be careful, because at the end of the day, they are unwittingly demonizing the North. Making the North look bad before people. Look at some of the comments that people are making. I mean, if you, as a senator of the Federal Republic, you belong to APC, before you go out to make a comment, you ought to even ask your people that, okay, what really is the thing? You have the same radical streak as the former Emir. I'm talking about Tundume now. You have the same, you are radical, your opinions are usually radical. But in this case, because you did not do your homework well before going to grant interviews, you now, at the end of the day, people are now saying, what is wrong with this man? That shouldn't be the case. And it's not even everything that Nigerians should comment upon. Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians see themselves as subject matter experts on everything.
Their statements has become a weapon being used by those who are talking about, you know, those
breaking up Nigeria. Yes.
Now they are provided with instruments, weapons to use.
Okay, we said it. We said it. Can you see now? Can you see now? Can you see now that this is Sokoto Caliphate? You know, all of the things that we had forgotten about. Sanusi said, look, there are some departments that ought to be in Lagos. He said FSS and most of operation has to be in Lagos. He even suggested that 2 deputy governors, the bulk of their work is in Lagos. That's somebody who has been CBN governor and was even voted best banker in the world. You know, so he knows what he's talking about. And then he's saying, when economic policy, corporate services, all the departments that report directly to the governor, as well as risk management and audit, those ones can stay in Abuja. So, what was all the
law school was in Lagos here before. They came and then, you know,
decentralized. And nobody complained about it.
The political zones now.
Because it makes sense to do it.
It makes sense.
The demand of all the universities, private
all universities were springing up.
Why should everyone come to
Port Harcourt? They have law school there. You go different.
Port Harcourt,
you know, they decentralized it. Nobody came up to say, no, this we will go to war. Why did you want to take something away from Lagos? Come on. All these people, they need to be spoken to. Because trying to drive a wedge between the North and the South is not what we want to see. It's not what we want to see.
Some people will tell us that we learn from the experience of Rwanda, that if you ask an average Rwanda now, that where are you from? You will say, Rwanda.
No. It's the law. The law does not permit you to say you are Hutu or Tutsi. The law is that you call yourself Rwandese. You are from Rwanda. Nobody, you go to jail now, and nobody wants to go to jail.
So we should de-emphasize this.
Ethnicity, religion.
All Nigerians.
Some of us are just, I don't understand. What do they gain? Thank God that there are still people who can speak the truth. That's the thing that Sanusi said ethnic jingoes will not stop. But the CBN governor must do his work.
Go ahead.
The CBN, it has autonomy. CBN has autonomy. It should exercise some level. If a person cannot transfer people within his office now, some of these politicians, they have businesses here and there. They are running those businesses the way they like. Now you don't want someone to even be able to move staff. I mean, it should be the prerogative of management to move staff. If they say, Jide, enough, go to Abuja.
Yeah.
Am I going to say that it's wrong? Even you, are you not going to move to Abuja in a matter of days? So are you going to say no, you are not going because you are enjoying Lagos or the Lagos life? You like Lagos life and all that. No, I know now. It has to stop. They should stop this trying to divide our people.
So Wale, ultimately, that should not be our fault line. As in our
If we want to be thinking that, we will have called for decentralization of Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna. That is for all Nigerians.
It's for all Nigerians.
So why can't we have one in Akure and one in Enugu? And so many institutions like that.
Nigerian military,
one div.
You know, Armored Division in Bauchi. We could have just say, oh, all of
let's have other
80%. You know, but we have accepted it in good faith. So they should not dip their hands deep down our throat.
Having the federal capital in the middle of our country is a good decision.
Yeah.
It's a good decision.
Nobody should claim.
Nobody. It does not belong to anybody. Yeah. It does not belong. Coming out to talk about it, remember, it's a shameful thing. As a Northern, I'm ashamed that people will now come and they are trying to embody Abuja and now say, okay, election 2027 will be affected. Who knows those who will get to 2027 amongst us? Why are we so fixated about an election that is still far away? Are we God?
I'm particularly worried that if you are just talking of relocation of mere departments,
not everything.
People accept restructuring that Nigerians are talking about.
I'm telling you.
I mean, it's frightening.
Departments, just a few departments, a few. Even FAN that they are banging their heads on the wall again. FAN is still going to have some offices in Abuja. It's not even everything.
Yeah. 60% of revenue of FAN is from Lagos here. So why should they be in Abuja? Why?
Office line follow. You are paying. You remember when Abike Dabiri?
Yes.
Abike Dabiri didn't have an office.
Yes.
She was chased out, squatting with her
Minister of Communication.
And in just one day, the man said, no, you must go. The same government, All
right.
Abba.
Despite huge investment, it is sad that stable power still eludes Nigeria. After more than 60 years of independence, the recent increase in tariff by the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission, NERC, has failed to translate to improvement in power supply. The generation from 19 power plants fell to 3,387 megawatts. According to NERC, though electricity tariff has been raised based on new multi-year tariff order 2022, which took effect on the 1st of January, consumers will continue to pay the old rates. The federal government will pay for the gap as a subsidy, amounting to 1.6 trillion naira in just 2024. We need subsidy in this sector.
It's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there. I think one of the reasons people are reluctant to come and invest in the power sector in Nigeria is this issue of appropriate pricing.
Yes.
Now,
can be running at a loss.
Yes. It's a situation in which you spend 50 naira to generate electricity. I'm just using that as an illustration. And you price what is generated at 38 naira. You're already at a loss. So the federal government realized that, look, you can't keep stopping them from increasing tariff. You have to allow that increase to take place, but pay the differentials so that Nigerians do not suffer too much. So that is one. But people expect that with the increase in tariff, that there will at least be improvement. At this point, they are saying that, oh, gas is the problem. One major reason for this is gas is being priced in dollars. There are so many things being priced in dollars in our country. Even in the maritime sector, many services are still priced in dollars, and is affecting the consumers in a way, because at the end of the day, the cost will transfer to the consumer. So what we are facing now is a situation in which the IOCs, they prefer to produce gas and sell to clients abroad. Because the moment our currency slid badly, of course, it means that the local consumer, the Gencos have to pay more. But my own worry is if you are producing for Nigerians, why are you allowing gas to be priced in dollars? Because at the end of the day, every time the Naira slides, it means that the Gencos have to pay more. So for this reason, those guys are diverting. I remember when the Minister of State even pleaded with these IOCs that, look, dedicate a good chunk of the gas that you produce to the local market. But you cannot force them, because they're in business to make money, and they believe that payment is easier with those foreign clients. It's easier to get paid. Within our country, they can be owed a lot of money, and it will take a long time before they can collect their money. So they are diverting what they are producing to the foreign market, and the local generating companies are suffering. And when Gencos do not have access to gas, the transmission leg this thing is like a relay. The transmission leg will suffer. When transmission suffers, distribution will suffer. So lack of gas to Gencos will affect transmission, because if they do not generate what is there to transmit, or maybe they will just transmit a little, then of course, if there is nothing to transmit, the distributors will also suffer. I also think that one reason we constantly have gas constraint is the location of generating companies far away from the source of gas. Egbin, for example, in Ikorodu here, Egbin is the biggest power plant in West Africa. Is far away. The source of gas is in Niger Delta. But look at Egbin here. Anytime those pipelines are breached, anytime, because these guys breach these pipelines out of ignorance. When you break a gas pipeline, what are you going to do? You cannot pipe the gas. You cannot bottle up the gas. You are just destroying, sabotaging the economy needlessly. So the source of gas is far away from where the gas plants, or Motosho, Papa Lanto, all of them, far away from these are gas-powered power stations. Yes. What hydro contributes to our electricity generation is less than 30%.
No.
Yes.
So maybe
whereas in the past,
and Shiruru.
yes. What could have helped us is the Mambila that we refuse to do, because Mambila alone will give you about 3,600 megawatts. But we refuse to.
Corruption has.
Yes. There's so much while over that project. So I don't know when this gas issue will stop, but I also think that we need to look at other sources, including wind, solar, and the rest of them. South Africa is coal.
Yeah.
South Africa generates about 58,000 megawatts. 58,000. And coal is about 80% of that. We have coal now in Nigeria. No one can say that.
Enugu.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we need to look at other sources so that we don't rely too much on this gas thing.
So, in this generation, are we going to have the capacity to solve this problem once and for all? Progressive government, they've been shying away from this thing. I hardly hear from Minister Dilabu about the situation, but it's not improving in any way.
Since the power sector reform in 2005, we discovered that we have been, every year, the megawatts we produce begin to go down. It was only at the point, it went up there later. I think there are a lot of problems. I believe
Nigeria is, we should be talking about 4,000 megawatts as our maximum.
Egypt generates 58,000 megawatts. Singapore, 12,000. Singapore is just about less than 6 million people. Ghana, 4,000 plus.
Up to Lagos.
Ghana is just about 32 million people. And then South Africa, 58,000 megawatts.
Wow.
So even Ivory Coast, about 2,200. Ivory Coast is just a smaller country here. So there is just no justification except bad leadership, and this idea of monopoly, federal government monopoly. Even though we have Gencos and all that, the federal government still has monopoly over transmission.
In transmission companies.
Yes. So we need to decentralize ownership and distribution of electricity. In 2017, I think OAU was planning to generate its own electricity, I think about 6 megawatts, to serve the university community and also the neighborhood. I'm not sure, I don't know whether they have been able to complete that. And the idea was to have 24 hours power supply. So we need to decentralize, we need to ensure that states like Lagos, when it comes to generation and transmission, states should be responsible. And then we have challenges with gas flaring. Every year we still flare gas. In 2002 alone, we flared gas worth almost over $600 million. So we need to find a solution to gas flaring. And I think that states that are in coastal lines where gas is produced, they should invest in electricity so that they can, take care of their community, their states, and the other areas that time. And I also begin to suspect...
If the law is amended, because Akwa Ibom built power plant.
Yeah, there's a need for reform.
But when you now say they should, everything generated should go
to national grid. So it still has to do with this, the federal government monopoly. This thing has been there for a very long time, since 1972, when we had the Decree 24 that created NEPA. So we cannot have a central, management system for, national electricity distribution. We need to decentralize power so that states and communities be able to generate electricity from all sorts of sources, including biofuel.
All right. After initial hope of a better deal, it appears more challenges are springing up regarding passport issuance and renewal. Officials of the Nigerian Immigration Service have lamented that the newly introduced automated passport application process has become an obstacle instead of making passport acquisition process faster in Nigerians. For Nigerians, many applicants are left stranded in passport issuing offices across the country because they cannot meet the newly introduced conditions, which include provision of letter of identification from the local government by applicants who are renewing their passports. Also, the fee for a 5-year passport has been increased by 10,000 naira, from 25,000 naira to 35,000 naira. Julie, we saw improvements since this administration, since we had the new minister. We saw big improvements across board. But, the more we solve some problem, the system will also throw up another obstacle. Now, most of this local government, this letter of identification you're talking about, that would now be an avenue to extort Nigerians. So if I want to get this in, I have to go to Osel local government in Odo State now and be looking for one chairman, and it's an avenue to make things cumbersome.
Through their liaison offices.
If they have one here. If they have one here.
I don't even know why some people have argued that they did that because non-Nigerians...
a lot of non-Nigerians. It's easy to get our passports.
On our passports, whereas they can't get the passport of other countries like that, But we shouldn't...
this will be first timer, or if you want to renew.
Even if you want to renew. That's what I'm surprised about. I want to renew. There are all kinds of obstacles that should go. You want to renew, they now make it, you now have to come for capturing again.
Meanwhile, there's a database.
You have to come.
It's a biometric process.
It's just, for example, my children now who are going to school outside Lagos, if I'm to renew their passport now, they have to come home.
Have to be present.
And that renewal, and if there are mistakes that you need to correct, like one of my sons,
spelling
mistake, yes, they say you have to go to Abuja. I mean, all these things are not, we are not treating ourselves like civilized people.
Honestly.
Why should I go all the way to Abuja just to make a correction?
Yeah.
That probably was not even my fault. You tell me that I have to go to Abuja. The minister has been praised for what he has done. But I think the introduction of this local government thing is what is driving people mad, because they didn't expect it. It has come suddenly. They had never had to do that in the past. In the past, when we got our passport, we didn't have to bring a local government this thing, attestation from local government that this is where you are from. You know? Even the schools, in those days, we wanted to enter some of the public schools in your state. They want to be sure that you are an indigenous of the state. So they instituted that we'll go, we'll know when I wanted to enter Kwara College of Tech for basic studies in those days. They made us do it. You know, but for international passport, some of the people renewing, they are not even based there. You know, some of them are abroad, they come home, they need you, and you are putting them to do sharp, all of that. So the whole idea, what the minister wants to achieve, the speed in issuing of passports that he wanted to achieve, he will not achieve it because this condition that they come up with will slow down the process. That is the point. Whatever they can do to hasten the process is what will make Nigerians happy. But if you are introducing some elements, some stipulations that Nigerians must meet, and those stipulations are now dragging the hand of the clock back, then you ask yourself, what have you achieved? What have you achieved? You achieved a little and then took several steps backwards. That is, in my honest opinion, that is what we are seeing. They must simplify the process. People should be able to, as you are seated at your desk in your study, in your house, you should be able to process this thing, and then it comes out.
Seamless.
But if you have to then call your, I don't know who advise people in government, honestly, that your local government must get involved. And then this NIN thing, it's like we just wasted our time.
Oh, no.
NIN is there, yet Dogo Gide and other bandits, they will be using phone to negotiate ransom. We can't track their calls, we can't catch them. And we did NIN. So even this one now, with your NIN, it should be easy to do.
Your local government to sit, because we all feel that everything is there.
What is the local government? Have they seen me before? I mean, somebody who has not seen me before attesting that I am this, I am that.
There was a time I wanted to renew my passport, and I was told that by NIN number in my name, I had my middle name, and that middle name wasn't in my international passport. So I had to go back to NIM office to remove my middle name manually. I spent days to remove it. So they had to send it to the Abuja office. They had to rectify it from their central server there. What's a very cumbersome process.
It's part of the things we are saying. When you have any little error with your passport, you need to go to Abuja. Why should somebody in Aba why can't the person go to Enugu? If somebody has problem from Ondo,
or you get married, you are now Mrs. So.
You need
must
to
go to
centralize, these things. You know the cost of traveling just because you want to go. And they're also asking for introduction for infants. That before you just attach your passport with that of your children, but now they're asking for local government. They're asking for date of birth, for people who are born in the 40s and 30s when there were no, they were asking for, certificate of birth certificate. When they had none, there were none. So you are being compared to be criminalized because you are going to go out to go and forge that kind of
swear affidavits.
Yeah, and they have also increased the passport from 25,000 to 35,000 for 5 years, and then 10 years now 70,000 plus 2,000 bank charges. And most people are not aware, so they just got there and then to discover that. So I think there is a communication problem, within the ministry itself, and they need to do diligent communication with officials. There are some demands they are making that are not necessary. If you are renewing your passport, you already have your data. Why do I need to provide my birth certificate and other details again?
Just to renew.
I think I will also advise, some people have never been to their local governments. Born in Lagos, is now 35 years old. He can't even spell the local government correctly. Or born in Kano, and it's from Ondo State. He has never been to his local government. He doesn't even know the local government, the chairman of his local government. So how do you want him to now travel from Kaduna or Kano to Ondo State or from Lagos? Some people born in Lagos.
So now be an avenue for those local government officials.
For the local government, should also update from analog to digital. They should have websites so that people can search. The name of the local government chairman. So that people can have information about their local government. So that if you want to get information, at least you can communicate.
The idea is people should be able to do this thing seamlessly.
Without any, All right. But I think we commend the reforms that are taking place.
Yeah, again, as much as
changes so that it can amend.
It's easier. The number of people that want to take their passport because of the situation in the country now, I've never seen it in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's huge.
Before, it's not everybody that we have access to passport and they don't want to live in Nigeria. But now, the number of applicants due to this jackpot syndrome.
Travel to Togo, Ivory Coast, Ghana, people want to leave, just to leave the country for economic reasons.
People go to Togo and Ghana to purchase their tickets to travel abroad right now.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Because of the volatility in terms of our foreign exchange. Banks, the airlines just marked it up for us.
Somebody yesterday.
Ghana here is cheaper.
God is good to Ghana.
We are still passing through a lot of landmines. Since May 29, we are passing through a lot of landmines. And I hope when those landmines are detonated, the government will be able to sit down and, take its altitude.
All right. Joining us for more discussion on this issue is an accountability expert and e-government lecturer, Malcolm Osanho. Thank you for joining us, Malcolm.
Hello. Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. Amazing platform.
Are you...
Hello?
Hello? You can hear us clearly, right?
Malcolm,
yes,
can you hear
I can
us?
hear you. Thank you for having me. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Let's talk about this.
Hello?
Let's talk about the problems our people are facing now with issuance of passports. The minister was commended for some reforms that he introduced which hastened the process. Now they are saying that new conditions being stipulated are now making passport issuance slower. What have you got to tell us about this?
Okay, so, well, thank you for the opportunity to exchange. From my understanding, the approach of the minister, for me, is laudable at the beginning because, with the success story of clearing over 2,000 backlogs of passports. So that for me, that's laudable and it should be applauded. Now, digitization of processes, e-government, basically, yes, is the key and is the way. But there are approaches to these things. So for example, now, the idea of the, like I was listening in on you earlier, the idea of the introduction of the local government, to show that you're from this local government and all of that, the certificate. I don't know why that is being introduced. I believe, to my understanding, the passport is a security document, so they're doing all manners of, validation to make sure that this person is this person. But there are other ways. And that's why, you know, the introduction of e-government, you know, digitizing the processes. But yes, he has gone ahead to digitize, and he has been successful in that. And then now introducing this, and then now we are having back and forth. Now, in the approach to digitize, it's not always the answer. Why? Because you can go ahead and digitize a problem if you don't take certain steps. And one of the approach will be, you know, how the president has a vision and has given us the 8-point agenda, and all of us Nigerians are truly supposed to add value and find a way to get to that 8-point agenda, because he has seen that, okay, this 8-point agenda, if you meet it, Nigeria will be a better place, just like the SDGs with the 17 goals and 147 targets, something like that. What I would have thought the minister would have done, because I've heard him say he tried to see the process flow. Now, in understanding the process flow is very important, but the truth is, when you're understanding the process flow, there are researches that must be done, what we call as-is analysis, you know, as-is analysis. That means the current status of you know, the ICT, the input to the output, all of these things. And I believe he did that in a way, but I don't know to what extent, because, you know, these things will get to you using tools like PESTO, you know, macroeconomic factors to understand what is actually affecting the process. Maybe SWOT analysis, or for example, gap analysis, benchmarking with a process. So the question is, who is the minister benchmarking? Which country? What process flow is he benchmarking? This will now require you to do what we call BPR, business process re-engineering, so that you understand what you're doing here is to find out where exactly is the bottleneck. Because if you go ahead and just digitize, you will start seeing all these kind of problems. You start needing to require this, to require that. And so that's why sometimes it's not always to be in a hurry to digitize. Take time, explain to people, bring people in. And the only way government can bring people or citizens to be part of the process is e-government. E-government. And, you know, I was also listening to you earlier, and you spoke about, you know, the processes in ministries and all of this, ministries, MDAs and all. It was interesting to hear, you know, from my elders, I would say, because honestly, it was interesting and I learned from it. But you see, the answer is still e-government. So what is e-government? E-government basically is, you know, using ICT as an enabler for government services, you know, anchoring on accountability and transparency for effective and efficient service delivery. So in that case, it's not just, it sounds so simple, but there's a process and you have a goal. The goal is I remember someone I don't know who, but someone mentioned about having a vision in the ministry and then everybody following suit. Now, let's look at the 8-point agenda, and let me explain this e-government. Maybe let me bring clarity to what I'm saying to Nigerians, because I know a lot of Nigerians are watching TVC, great channel. Let's look at the 8-point agendas. So we have food security, end poverty. Let's pick end poverty, for example. So the president has seen that, you know, poverty is a major issue, and poverty can be, you know, you can tie poverty to every single thing going on. Insecurity, even the fact that people have to go to do, you know, to get the certificate at local government. Some people may complain because of the money, the transport. Some people which I don't know if it's a form of IGR for the government. I don't know if they're trying to use internally generated revenue. I don't know why, if that's the case. But imagine ending poverty now, and a ministry like Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. See how particular the president is, that he even changed it to poverty alleviation to show you where his heart is. And why I will speak on this is because of the numbers. Now, they say 133 million people are multidimensionally poor. That means that's 63%. That's crazy. That is a lot of people, you know. So the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs should, for example, bringing e-government, should act as a coordinating body, a supervisory body, a regulating body that looks at the processes of intervention across all the 774 local government, 36 states, and capital. And should not bother about implementation. Implementation of any form of alleviation or intervention should be done at the ministry, at the agencies or programs. For the ministries to stay focused with the renewed hope agenda. Renewed hope. It means giving hope to people again in government. And now, what has happened with all the whole, I don't know, stories, but with all that has happened, it's alarming. You see the president now that has given us a vision to work with. What might be in his heart is trust issues in who to handle things like this. But I tell you, the answer is e-government. So you stay as a regulating body, you stay as a supervisory body, and then you say, okay, I have a vision. As a vision for everyone, it would be as simple as whatever intervention from the government promised to the people must get to the people. You have that vision, that goal, just like it was earlier mentioned. And then from there, you start processes of understanding everything to align with that vision. One of them will be, how they try to get to understand the lives of these people, which of the poor and vulnerable, which, using the community-based targeting system, which is good, but that's when you are trying to capture data. Because, all of this talk at the end is centered on data. But you cannot understand these people if you do not, if government is not in the lives of these people. You cannot actually alleviate them from poverty if government is not in the life of these people. So government has to find a way to be omnipotent in a way, to be in their lives. And what they do is to digitize the process.
What do you suggest?
This is what I would do.
What do you suggest? Should government drop the idea? Should government drop the idea of having people go to their local governments to get this document, this attestation and all that? Should they just drop the idea? If it's slowing down the process, shouldn't they just drop the idea? What's your suggestion?
No, I would not say so. There's a reason, and I feel they should come out to explain, because the passport is actually a security document, but there should be a reason why. And if they should look at the process again, that would be my suggestion. Looking at the process again, the process flow.
I think the main reason is that some foreigners are laying their hands on Nigerian passports.
It's easy.
I think it's easy. Yes.
Yes.
But
in Nigerian,
shouldn't there be something they can do to ease the pains that people are going through just to get a passport?
Digitize the process. Let us have some sort of central database. Now you may say NIM, for example, a unique identifier that that's interoperable with the NIM or the BVN, for example. So they should digitize the process. Look at what it is that you can use to know to validate this person is real, rather than just going to make people go and get affidavit on this, or to say that I am from here and from that. Digitize the process. E-governance. E-government, from federal down to capital. You don't have to be in the federal, you don't have to come to the federal capital to do anything. Everything should be done. Imagine a system that could actually, you file in a document, maybe for example like your tinted permit, if that was still an issue, and then you have all the required documents, and each of these documents have barcodes to authenticate them, and then you sit in your house and you register, file in all the required documents, scan them, and for it to be processed. And then the back end, the policeman or whoever is in charge there the system authenticates it through the barcode, and then there in your office at your convenience, you get a printout of this document or the soft copy. So or maybe in the ministry,
So finally,
or maybe in the
what can we do to make this system faster?
Say that again.
What can we do to make this system less cumbersome and faster?
I would use what I call the 4 pillars of government interaction. That is the approach. G to C, government to citizen, G to G, government to government, G to B, government to business, and G to E. When you use this 4 pillar to build a robust plan in how you want to actually get to G to C, because G to C, government to citizen, is the most important. A country that is citizen-centric will always grow. Each of these pillars answer to G to C. So with such approach, you would have been able to build a robust plan to tackle this. There, you would have carried the citizens along. That's why for G2C now, what you're discussing now, this group will be discussing about the transformation of the lives of people and how to make it better. The G2G will be looking at other governments, other government agencies or ministries to have a seamless interaction, so that if I go here, I don't have to put in. If I put in this number, I will get the history of my medical whatever. If I go to the hospital, if I'm at road safety doesn't have to chase anybody. From the plate number, they can tie it to me. If I was in Rwanda for lecture last year and I was late for a class, and I told the taxi man to speed up, you know, I'm in a hurry. And he said to me, no, it can't go past 60. I said, why? He said, oh, if it goes past 60, it's $20. I said, what? $20. And the Nigerian in me started to calculate. Now, how does that even happen? ICT, Internet of Things, AI, the cameras tracked his plate number, and the moment he beats, it clocks him, and the moment he beats traffic or whatever, he gets a message on his phone immediately. G to B, government to business. Government will always need, you know, experts from anywhere, development partners, you know, people that e-government experts, people that are already in this field to learn from, to help them build capacity.
You have to leave it there. I want to thank you, Malcolm Osahon. Thank you for your contribution.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. So, Jide.
I think that is basically.
That's just make sure it is.
Where the security agencies need information about me, and they will be groping in the dark. We can't have a country like that. All of this, every Nigerian, information about him should be at the fingertips.
I don't have to go to or sell local government in Ondo State now.
It makes no sense.
Get this document.
I mean, we just suffer
I must be able to go online, maybe a barcode or my fingerprint.
Yes.
To be able to get my fingerprint, and they'll be able to process information, and I print out something. I don't have to go physically.
You say people should. There's a mistake on a passport, and then people must travel to Abuja.
Because you are married now, you are Mrs. So now, you have to go to Abuja to go and effect that change.
You spend money on accommodation, you risk your life.
In 2024.
I mean, these are things, and we are even trying to make it even more difficult.
Not as difficult as this.
Why?
NIN should have resolved all these problems, because they asked for local government, everything. So
it's there.
Just and they do collect NIN from passport office. They ask you for your NIN. So
when you want to register your phone, it's part of the information. I mean,
do you know that
register your SIM.
The BVN we did is almost the same process. The BVN, the NIM, the driver's license you did, almost the same questions. It could be harmonized.
You know.
Yes. Oh, in fact, let me tell you, it's the BVN that hastened the NIM process.
I'm telling you.
It was the BVN, because they now have to integrate the information that provided by the BVN. They had to integrate it, and it hastened the process. You know, so I just think that this whole idea of telling people, oh, you want to make a correction on your passport, you must go to Abuja, it has to stop. We must outgrow this kind of antediluvian tendencies. Abba.
I want to thank you, Wale Adeoye. Thank you for your contribution. And BKO, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
All right. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow, 5 p.m. BKO will be here, 5 p.m. for a regular episode of Journalist Hangout. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11:30 p.m. on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. See you tomorrow.